Hey guys, I wanted to take you to see my favorite farm, the Douglas Farm. I've driven past this house my whole life and I've always been in love with it, and I recently found out its history. Built by Joseph Henry Douglas in 1926, he and his wife Adra Dale once owned a mill on farther back near Dandridge, and this is their first house, which no longer exists. He and his family went from milling into producing hogs and meat, and have a beautiful farm, which I'll show you as we go through. This house, built in 1926, is just always captured my imagination, and I've always loved looking for it as I drove by. It's a beautiful home, and it has a lot of really cool details for an old farmhouse. I love the porch. The porch is my favorite part of the house, and though it's on a busy road today, I'm sure back in the day it was just lovely to sit out there on that porch swing and watch the world go by. It's really amazing with this proximity to Douglas Dam that this property was not taken as part of the thousands of acres that was taken for the dam reservoir. Behind the house, there's a woodshed, and this is the curing shed, which they would hang the meat up in after butchering to cure before they would take it to Knoxville to the market to sell. The lattice work on this building is really cool. I don't think I've ever seen a building constructed quite like this one, but it's a great example of old farm architecture. On up the hill behind the house is a general use barn that they used for their livestock, and it didn't really have anything to do with the meat packing process of the property. Hidden in the weeds is a really cool old slaughterhouse. There is a area for butchering the meat, and then the area that sticks out past is a huge 1920s walk-in freezer and smoker. There was a barn that had a weighting system in it so they could weigh the trucks so they knew how much meat they were taking. This also housed their trucks, but unfortunately it fell victim to arson. This property has a lot of issues with people breaking in and vandalizing things, so that has been lost. But the meat shed, I'm hoping maybe I can get permission to show you guys the inside of that one day soon. But it's full of treasures. Up on the hill is one of the coolest features of this property. It's in terrible shape. Half of it has fallen down, but at one point this barn was state of the art, guys. It is a beautiful piece of architecture. It is terribly sad that it is in the state that it is today, but that section that you see bumping out on the side is actually a huge reservoir cistern system. The farm has about 100 acres that overlooks the Smoky Mountains, and this is the most integral part of the meat processing plant that they had. They actually collected all of the water off of the barn into a big giant cistern system you can see here screened off. It's like a giant swimming pool, and this fed down the hill, creating water pressure that went to the meat packing house, the curing shed, and to the house to give them hot and cold running water at one point. The house is in pretty good shape, but the barn is just on its last legs. It's sheared right in half, right down the middle. And I just would have loved to seen it back in the day. It's got some really, really good old lumber in it, and I would love to salvage that. But the cistern just fascinates me. It's concrete. You can see where they made the form out of wood. There's wood marks in it, and it's just a beast of a water storage facility. And again, this would have provided the water down mainly for the killing shed and their meat packing program. I have always wanted to start my own museum, farm museum based in the 1920s and 30s, and I just see so much possibility with this property. I would love to have something like this and be able to educate the public about how cool this operation used to be. It uses the gravity from the hill down to the house for the water flow, and it was just really a state-of-the-art property. As I said before, there's about 100 acres with this farm. It goes up the hill behind the house, and the fields are just epically beautiful. It overlooks the Smoky Mountains, and you can just barely see Douglas Lake from the very top of the hill. These fields are used for hay and housing cattle today, and I don't know that there was ever a large crop yield here on the property. You can see the tobacco barn there in this picture. The family never grew tobacco, but Joseph would rent out this barn to local tobacco growers and let them dry their tobacco on his property. It's a beautiful barn. Absolutely huge. I couldn't imagine it full of tobacco, but it used to be a big income source from the property, I'm told, as renting this barn to the local farmers. Up behind the barn, there is a beautiful pond that the cows can get some drinks out of, but it was just so pristine and so beautiful and peaceful back up in there. And I'm just so thankful to have had the opportunity to go back and see this property. Dad tried to help me with some filming, and this is some bloopers, so I'll leave you with this. It kind of made me laugh, and Dad's probably going to get mad at me that I put this in here. So here we go.